Welcome to VLearn. This is session number 3 of C Sharp. In this session, topics covered are concept of a class, objects, fields, methods, access modifiers, properties, constructor destructor, methods overloading, constructor overloading, overloading constructors, values and reference. Now, what is a class? Class is a template that defines the form of an object. A class specifies both the data and the code that will operate on that data. क्लास सिंपली एक टेम्पलेट की तरह वर्क करती है, जस्ट लाइक अ ब्लूप्रिंट फॉर ऑब्जेक्ट. क्लास के अंदर आप डाटा मेंबर्स और मेंबर फंक्शंस डिफाइन करते हैं. मेंबर फंक्शंस वो फंक्शंस जो पर्टिकुलर उस डाटा के ऊपर वर्क करना होता है, जिन फंक्शंस के थ्रू आपको. ऑब्जेक्ट्स आर इंस्टेंस ऑफ अ क्लास. ऑब्जेक्ट्स आपके इंस्टेंस हैं क्लास के. आप ऑब्जेक्ट्स को इंस्टेंसेस कह सकते हैं या फिर ऑब्जेक्ट्स. The methods and variables that constitute a class are known as members of the classes. A class is created by using a keyword class. Now, what is an object? An class definition is like a blueprint that specifies what type can you do. That means क्लास के अंदर आप डाटा मेंबर्स और मेंबर फंक्शंस को डिफाइन करके ये अपना डेफिनेशन प्रोवाइड करते हैं कि आपने पर्टिकुलर इस क्लास को किस फंक्शन के लिए डिक्लेयर किया है. An object is basically a block of memory that has been allocated and configured according to the blueprint. That is your class only. A program may create many objects or instances of the same class. आप सेम क्लास लाइक अपने ब्लूप्रिंट की कितनी भी कॉपीज बना सकते हैं. सेम आप एक क्लास डिफाइन कीजिए उस पर्टिकुलर क्लास के 1, 2, 3 many objects can be created from that class only. They can be stored in either a named variable or in an array of collection. Objects का array भी build कर सकते हैं या फिर आप अलग अलग objects के named variable create कर सकते हैं. Now field. A field is a variable of any type that is declared directly in a class or struct. Fields are members of their containing type. A class or struct may have instance field or a static field or both. Static fields means वो fields जो particular पूरी class में static रहते हैं, that is they can't change. If you have a class T with an instance field F, you can create two objects of type T and modify the value of F in each object without affecting the value in other object. सेम क्लास है आपकी T, उसके अंदर कुछ आपके डाटा मेंबर्स हैं, बट आपने उन क्लास के दो ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट करे हैं और दोनों ऑब्जेक्ट ने आपके लाइक f वेरिएबल को डिफरेंट वैल्यू दी है. फॉर वन ऑब्जेक्ट f is 5 and for another f is 9. Then it's perfectly okay with both of the objects. A static field belongs to the class itself and is shared among all instances of that field. Changes made from instance A will be visible immediately to instance B and C if they access the field. To access a field in an object, add a period after the object name followed by the name of the field. पर्टिकुलर किसी एक फील्ड जो आपकी क्लास की फील्ड है उसे एक्सेस करने के लिए ऑब्जेक्ट नेम को यूज़ करके डॉट एंड देन राइट योर फील्ड नेम. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, here is your class is calendar entry and you have created a object birthday of that particular class. If you want to access a day variable which is a data member of class calendar entry, you will just write birthday dot day is equal to Saturday. Now what are methods? A method is a code block that contains a series of statement. Simply एक ब्लॉक होता है जिसके अंदर आप एक से ज़्यादा statements को क्लब करके रखते हैं. A program causes the statement to be executed by calling the method and specifying any required method arguments. In C Sharp, every executed instruction is performed in the context of a method. जैसे कि C Sharp के अंदर आपकी एग्जीक्यूशन मेन फंक्शन से ही स्टार्ट होती है और मेन फंक्शन के ब्लॉक के एंड पे ही क्लोज होती है. जितनी भी इंस्ट्रक्शन, अगर आपने कोई फंक्शन या मेथड क्रिएट नहीं किया है क्लास में, तो बाय डिफ़ॉल्ट मेन मेथड होता है आपका, जिससे कि हमारी जितनी भी इंस्ट्रक्शन एग्जीक्यूट होती हैं, इट इज़ अ पार्ट ऑफ अ मेथड ओनली. The main method is the entry point for every C Sharp application and it is called by CLR, Common Language Runtime, when the program is started. This is the example of a class. In this, there are three members. Methods, start engine method, add gas method and drive method. In this you can see first start engine is your method which do not contain any parameter, and in add guess you have a one parameter, and in drive method you have two. So it is your choice. You want to give a parameter, you do not want to give, or you give 1, 2, as many parameters you want in your methods. Next is C# access modifiers. Access modifiers are keywords used to specify the declared accessibility of a member or a type. The following 5 accessibility levels can be specified using the access modifiers. There are 5 access modifiers: public, protected internal, and private. First is your private keyword. The private keyword is a member access modifier. Private access is least permissive access levels. Like private, that means something we want others to see. So we'll consider that as a private member function or member of a class. The private members are accessible only within the body of the class or the structure in which they are declared. Second one is protected keyword. Protected keyword is accessible within its class and by the derived class. प्राइवेट कीवर्ड से जो आप डिक्लेयर करते हैं वो आपका जस्ट क्लास की बॉडी के अंदर ही एक्सेस हो सकता है. अदरवाइज प्रोटेक्टेड कीवर्ड जो अगर आप यूज़ कर रहे हैं डाटा मेंबर के आगे, तो उससे आप क्लास और उसकी डिराइव्ड क्लास में भी यूज़ कर सकते हैं. डिराइव्ड क्लास दैट मीन्स वी विल डिस्कस दिस इन इनहेरिटेंस, इन विच वी हैव अ बेस क्लास एंड अ डिराइव्ड क्लास. Next is public keyword. It is an modifier which is the most permissive access level. That is, there are no restriction, no accessing public members. The internal keyword is used for accessing only within the fields in the same assembly. अगर आपने इंटरनल कीवर्ड यूज़ किया डाटा मेंबर्स के आगे, तो आपके वो पर्टिकुलर एक असेंबली के अंदर ही एग्जीक्यूट हो सकते हैं. Next is your protected internal. The type or member can be accessed by any code in the assembly in which it is declared or from within a derived class in another assembly. Secondly, access from another assembly must take place within a class declaration that derives from the class in which the protected internal elements is declared and must take place through an instance of a derived class type. Protected internal means protected plus internal. That is, internal, it can be used between the assemblies also, or protected, it can be used in a derived class also. So both protected and internal combinedly called as protected internal. Next is properties. A property again is a method of a class that is used to appears to the user as a field of a class. Properties are used to provide access to the private fields of the class. Like you write access modifier, data type and the property name. जो भी आप इसके अंदर functioning perform करते हैं by using these two functions, get and set. There are two blocks. This is an example of your get and set. Here is class named time period, data member seconds, which is a private data member. Public member function is hours, and this you have first get return seconds divided by 3600. Get means you want to get something from this method, and set is used to set a value in that particular function. You can see second is your private member. सो प्रॉपर्टीज़ का यूज़ हम तभी करते हैं जब हमें क्लास के प्राइवेट मेंबर्स को कोई वैल्यू असाइन करनी होती है या हमें उनके थ्रू कुछ रिटर्न करना आना होता है रिजल्ट. एंड दिस इज़ योर मेन क्लास प्रोग्राम विच कंटेन्स अ मेन मेथड. डिक्लेयर अ ऑब्जेक्ट टी ऑफ टाइम पीरियड, assign a particular value to hours which is a public variable 24. Print a message times in hour t dot hours. T dot hours print a message 24. जैसे आप t dot hours को 24 वैल्यू असाइन करते हैं, ऑटोमेटिकली ही वैल्यू आपकी यहाँ पे चली जाएगी वैल्यू फंक्शन वैल्यू डाटा मेंबर में. That will be into 3600 and then return 3600 divided by 3600, which gives you again 24. 24 into 3600 whole divided by 3600. Static member of a class. A non-static class can contain static methods, fields, properties or events. The static members is capable on a class even when no instance of the class has been created. आपने जो class के object create भी नहीं करे हैं तब भी आप उन static members को call कर सकते हैं, like your main function. Main function automatically call होता है क्योंकि वो आपका एक static member है class का. Static member is always accessed by the class name, not by the instance name. Only one copy of static member exists regardless of how many instances of a class are created. Normally जब हम क्लास के डिफरेंट इंस्टेंस क्रिएट करते हैं तो हर एक इंस्टेंस की एक कॉपी क्रिएट होती है. बट अगर आपने स्टैटिक डाटा मेंबर डिक्लेयर कर रखा है अपने वेरिएबल को, तो उस पर्टिकुलर के लिए वो एक सिंगल कॉपी मेंटेन करके रखेगा जो बाकी सभी ऑब्जेक्ट्स को यूज़ करेंगे. बिकॉज स्टैटिक मीन्स समथिंग विच इज़ स्टैटिक, विच इज़ नॉट डायनामिक. Static methods and properties can't be access non-static fields and events in their containing types, and they can't access an instance variable of any object unless it is explicitly passed in a method parameter. These are initialized before the static members is accessed for the first time and before the static constructor, if there is one, is called. Constructor can also be static if you have static methods and properties. Static member of the class. To access a static member, you just need to use your class name instead of object. So here is an example. Automobile is your class name and you are accessing a member function named drive of your class, which is a static member function. And simply write int I is equal to automobiles dot number of wheels. Number of wheels is your static data member or variable of the class, and the class is automobiles. So you are accessing the member function and data member of a class using class name. Now we will see a example. Firstly, for access specifiers. First we create a class car. Make a private member function and a variable. First is private string mode. Mode is your data member whose access specifier is private, and a function named h is again a private member function. Print a message using system dot console dot read line. Sorry, write line. A default message. Close this function. Create another method with public specifier. Public void s, and here the message is enter mode. System dot console dot write line enter mode, and write system dot console dot read line for accepting the user input at runtime. Mode is equal to system dot console read line. Brackets and then terminator. Another function named display. Print a message system dot console dot write line. I want to print the mode value, so I'll simply write mode is. And write a variable mode to print the value of mode. Now go to the main class, create an object of class car. Car C is equal to new car brackets and semicolon. New is used to create a new instance of your class. Call a function s and then display. h फंक्शन आप कॉल नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि h आपका एक प्राइवेट मेंबर फंक्शन है. Save your program. Compile this. अगर आप यहाँ पे प्राइवेट मेंबर को प्रोटेक्टेड बना देंगे तब भी आपका वो सेम एरर शो करेगा जो आपका प्राइवेट मेंबर को एक्सेस करने पे शो करता है, बिकॉज दिस इज़ नॉट योर डिराइव्ड क्लास. You simply create the instance of a class and then access their member function. There is only 2 private members and rest of both S and D are your public members. The main function is contained in your program class where you create the object. Next is for private, just change private with protected. Rest will be same. This is your namespace, your program class where you have a static function, instance creation, calling of your functions. This is the closing of your class program. Again you start with class car, protected member, string mode, your h function. Then there are two functions of public, s and display, and after that simply close your car class and then your namespace. Rest of part will be covered in second part of this session. Thank you. Happy learning. We learning.